Hey there, everybody. This is Carl Schroth here, and I'm going to be showing you a little tech demo of Enjoyably. Think of it as an instructional designer in a box. It is a platform I'm designing that helps you take your existing material, whether you're a content creator, entrepreneur, thought leader, anything like that. You take your existing material and turn it into a high performing course. I follow Andragogy. It's the theory of adult learning, largely that adults already have a lot of experience, so you don't need to rehash lower level learning objectives. So to get in here, this is the app. This is definitely the beta version, and this is what I'm going to be inviting all of you to apply to help me test. It is a little intensive to test it, so I want to make sure it's a good fit. But yeah, hopefully you find this video interesting and you see that you have some interest in Enjoyably Create. So we'll get started. Um, I do have a lot of features planned out, but for now, it takes a quick stakeholder analysis of who you are as a subject matter expert. As you see, I've filled out some things in here before, and I'm going to take some information about my ideal client. For me, I am an instructional designer, as you see. That's my background. That's helped me build this app. But for the course, this one, my ideal learner is content creators wanting to improve their courses to grow and monetize their communities. I've already pre-written a little bio, but this is, just about you as a person, as a subject matter expert. You have some information here. Instructional designer, human performance specialist, have ADHD. Have a bachelor's and master's in instructional design. Things like that. You can, if you have an idea for your topic and title for your course, you can enter that here. You don't have to. There is a step that will help. Either way, generate some ideas for both of those. Now we go into the upload. There is a couple things you can do here as far as you can actually just record audio straight to this if you just want to spiff off an idea, upload various different file types, audio, video, PowerPoints, PDFs, text, all of that. And of course, just paste in some text. I have a example. This is a mock podcast where my buddy Tim Kaysen, shout out, did some questions about instructional design. I explained some processes in there about ADDIE, which is, as you see at the top here, analyze, design, develop, implement, and evaluate. Then I go over some other things like Bloom's taxonomy, and this is about a 15-minute long recording. If there's a full podcast episode, you get a lot more depth into that, but uh, this is all also handled on the browser for now, so we have a limited file upload size. But we'll go into the next step: analyze. So it's going over this material that I uploaded, including my SME bio, my ideal learner, things like that, and it's going to come up with some ideal or suggested topics. These are going to essentially help you form a transfer goal, which is an instructional designer term for what you hope to accomplish with this course. Um, these are some pretty simple ones. They're designed to be, easily understood. How to build an online course that people actually finish, structuring your course so students get real results. Um, let's go with how to build an online course that people actually finish, because that's an issue with online courses. Nobody finishes them. Now it's going to take that topic, all the other information we had going so far, and come up with a YouTube optimized title. This is using, YouTube best practices. It tries to, create a promise that you will succeed in. So we can go with transform your online course, a boot camp for monetizing your community. So now it's going to do is going to look at that title and figure out if you have any gaps in the information that you put in. It's going to see if there's anything that you need to include extra. And actually, I need to go ahead and end this recording. I only have a 5 minute window, so I'll come right back with these knowledge gaps. All right, we are back, and as you see, the knowledge review or the review of the knowledge gaps has been completed. As we said, I talked about in that 15-minute thing, ADDIE, that's that design process there, and Bloom's taxonomy. Um, yeah, and I did talk about a bus station to explain these, so it is pulling context. But what this page is showing is it, pulled out some topics that are good for your course, but you didn't include enough material in there. But what it's offering right here is you can decide if you want to include that, defer that to an advanced course, or just remove it entirely. If you defer it, it will pop up later. You'll see that. It could be future topics, things like that. Um, so what we'll do here is, we'll include this one. Analyze is the first step, so we'll include that. The course style promises a monetized community. Um, we'll defer that one for advanced course and evaluate. That's the last step. Don't have it in this app, so we're going to defer those two. What happens next is now it's asking for, hey, these are the things you have a gap on. We need some more information there. And what I do is I have a lot of my material in Notebook LM for right now. This will be a feature built in later, but I have all my personal research and knowledge put into Notebook LM, so I can just give it these two points, and it will output that information for me. I'll type it here. But if you have a video that covers these things, you've already created material on that, or you just want to talk, as always, you can just record that audio there. Um, we have a second for Notebook LM to output this. I have a lot of research there. One thing it did find, it does work better if you have audio. So if you have pre-existing, or just go ahead and record it here, it's able to pull more context from the way you speak and the nuances of your conversation. So if you have that, always go for it. As you see here, this next process does take a long time. This is something that will take me weeks to months if I'm doing it the old-fashioned way. And so it will do it in about like I said, 15 to 20 to 15 minutes, or sorry, 10 to 15 minutes longer if you have more material, because this can output micro courses, standard courses, deep dives, or as I call them, academic courses. So it ranges from 3 to more than 16 modules, but it figures that out by analyzing your material. So that's what you see here. We're going to go ahead and end this part of the recording for now, just because this takes a very long time. I will jump back to you at the next step, because you'll see an outline of your course as it starts to do the scripts and the quizzes and the activities. One thing, that hopefully you understand, I have designed this for YouTube, but specifically their new feature of courses for YouTube. It's part of the platform where you can, host and sell your courses. You can offer them for free, but it's like a empowered playlist where it keeps them all in one place. You can lock your comments down, do things like that, create a safe space for your lessons, and so that the only people in comments are other people who have access to this course. So you can kind of recreate some of that interactivity of courses that you do need. As important part of the instructional design. There's also some limited quiz, functionality built into YouTube, and so my outputs here are your intro scripts for the whole course, who you are, each module, the lesson, introductories for the quizzes. Each module has a practical activity. And it has calls to action to interact in the community section on YouTube, things like that. As you can see, it is doing all the steps of instructional design, implementing something that's called backwards design. So that's why we started with your topic, and got the information there, and it creates your transfer goal, which I said is your ultimate goal for what this course is supposed to do, how it's supposed to transform your student, and then it builds everything out backwards from there, as far as creating your modules, creating your lessons. Then it creates the script points, then it creates the quizzes and the activities. So it all aligns with your original topic and title. Um, yeah, like I said, we'll end the video here and then come right back. All right, we are back now. As you see, it is now done the outline. Um, it automatically starts going to the next part of development, which is, like I said, scripts, the intros, outros, talking points. Um, one thing you'll see here is your actual course. So as you see, it's mapped out 8 module course. Each of these is linked together by the learning journey. So this is the learning journey. This is what it figured out from your topic, your title, your transfer goal, and all that, and that's how it's mapping out all of these modules. As you can see, foundations of instructional design, understanding the learner, from learner needs to objectives, and this goes on until you get to the end point, get to your transfer goal. You can even break these down further and see what your module level objectives are. What each module is going to instruct your learner on, and what they're going to leave with, and it breaks it down to lesson level objectives. So that's what I just spent all that time creating, is all of this. You can also see, the transfer goal. This is what I was talking about. This is the high level goal that will, happen by the end of this course for your viewer or learner. You have your course learning objectives, key concepts. This is, what I was talking about. It will pull key concepts or sorry, key stories and analogies. Since there's only 15 minutes for the one I talked about, the main thing I used was a public bus station, talking about using ADDIE and Bloom's taxonomy for, understanding that. And also talked about how massive online only courses, or MOOCs, aren't really effective for a number of reasons, and go over that. I also was able to extract my voice and tone, so that way when it comes out with scripts, it'll be more likely to be my actual voice. One thing you'll see in the next part is that for the bulk of the lesson material, it outputs it as talking points. The talking points are the specific information that you need to cover. It's presented like an objective, and it will also include the context for that. So if you told a analogy like I did about a bus station, it will remind you that, oh, this is where that's from. One thing I've implemented in there is that it won't overuse analogies or stories or things like that. It does have a counter for the depending on the length of your course, how many times you can use each story and analogy, and that changes by the length of your course, per module, things like that. So it forces some variety in there. That was the thing I ran into early tests where it would like to use the same thing over and over. So we addressed that. But this part is going to be longer than the previous part. This is development, and if you ever developed out a course, it gets very long. It does keep you updated on the steps. While you're here, you can look at this. Just in this beta version, it all is running in browser, so you can't leave this. If it disconnects, it'll stop. Those will be fixed as this is implemented for real. But for the meantime, yeah, just keep this page open. You can step away. Just make sure that this doesn't disconnect or you don't close the browser or anything like that. You will lose your progress. So just for now, just so I'm not recording empty footage of me rambling, I'm going to end this recording, and we'll come back once the full course is output, and we'll get a look at the two documents it creates. One's the course DNA, as a little breakdown of all this information, and the quiz key on it. The other one is your script. You can go ahead and load it right up into a teleprompter, app or program, and start recording your course immediately. So yeah, I'll see you when we get to that part. All right. Hey there. So yeah, we are at the end now. As you can see, you still see the outline, see all of this, but the thing that's changed is now we have our artifacts, our two documents I was talking about before. We have our course DNA, and we'll have our script. So go ahead and open these up. So boop, boop, boop. Close all this. Sorry, I have a lot of stuff open. So, as we said, this is a text file that works with basically any teleprompter output, your app or program. Easier to edit things like that. And you see, this is transfer your online course. You can monetize your community. And it starts with the course intro, your intro, and then it breaks into each module. There's the introduction, your lesson, and then here we go with this talking points I was, talking about. It gives you your instructions on what to talk about, and it gives you a note about that. So the note is referential to what you covered in the material you provided. So if it decided that, oh yeah, we should talk about that bus station. So for instance, yeah, down here, lesson 2 of module 1, we have present ADDIE as a logical 5-step management framework. Goes to there. Note: use the public bus station scenario to walk through each phase conceptually. So that's talking about that's an analogy I used. And what's nice about this program is it won't reuse the same thing over and over in the same module or same lesson. So you're good there to go. You don't have to worry about repeating the same story over and over. But yeah, it for instance repeats that. Oh yeah, it gives you intro for the quiz. It gives you an intro for or the whole script for the practical activity that has the call to action as you see um, in the comment section of your YouTube video. The other thing, that we saw output was the course DNA for this. So here's the information, who I am, what it's about, what my, ideal learner was, topic title. And you remember from earlier where I deferred those two topics, they pop back up here. So, or, you can bring those back later if you want. And then here's your quiz and the quiz key. These are designed to be, higher level, application of the information, not just retrieval and recognition. And your distractors are designed to be close, but not just not a, trick, kind of close. So, and again, these are you can build these into YouTube. And YouTube does have a little quiz functionality built in. So yeah, this goes over all of that, and those are your outputs, like I said. So, yeah, let me know what you think. Go ahead and there should be a link, near this video or in in the title. Wow, description below. I gotta get better at that. And go ahead and fill out an application for the beta. Um, it does cost a lot of credits to pump through this, and right now I'm not charging any money for it. So I do want to make sure that my beta testers are a good fit, people who are interested in this, because your feedback will help shape the future of this. So I'm very interested in hearing what you have to say, because I want this to be good. I know it's good. I know it could be better. And I need your help. Yeah, I cover this in the application, but if you fill it out, it signs you up for first access of the Founder LTD, the lifetime the purchase. That'll be a one price you pay. It'll have course credits, and you'll be able to re up on more credits, throughout time. But you won't have to pay a monthly price for the platform, and that price will never change. More features will be added in the future, and there'll be chances to upgrade for that. But yeah, you can just stick with that forever. Thank you, and always be asking for more feedback in the future. So look forward to hearing from you guys.